Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Ann Emanuel. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted on 3 federal firearms charges. The indictment accuses Hunter Biden of lying about his drug usage while purchasing a firearm back in 2018. The firearm charge was part of an earlier plea deal in the works with federal prosecutors, but that deal collapsed. That earlier deal also related to misdemeanor tax charges, and the special counsel could potentially still pursue those allegations. Despite lingering inflation, a looming auto worker strike, and rising gas prices, President Biden is touting what he calls Bidenomics. He's hoping that his record is enough to quiet the murmurs of those urging him not to run for re-election. Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
As the summer winds down, prices are climbing back up. Inflation at the wholesale level jumped 0.7% in August. That's even higher than the month before.
Inflation is not just lingering, it's actually reaccelerating, which in my opinion is we're in a very dangerous scenario right now.
The spike in the producer price index comes after another key inflation report showing consumer prices rose 3.7% in August compared to a year ago. The bump was driven mostly by gas prices, with the average price of a gallon costing $3.85. That's up 15 cents from last year.
One of the first things I do every morning is click on the AAA gas price.
Stubborn inflation is serving up to be one of the president's biggest political challenges as he seeks a second term, and it's overshadowing his efforts to sell his economic strategy he calls Bidenomics.
We're a small business owner, our company, and we've got hit since he's taken, and it's hurt us bad.
The calls for him to abandon his re-election campaign are getting louder. An opinion from the Washington Post says the president's age is a liability. The president is dismissing the concerns, ramping up his criticism of Republican economic policy, which he calls Maganomics.
For all the time they spend attacking me and my plan, here's what they never do. They never talk about what they want to do.
And another potential economic pitfall, a United Auto Workers union strike. President Biden, who's called himself the most pro-union president, says he's pushing for an agreement that works for all sides. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
The Big Flats Community Days Festival is underway from now until Saturday at the Big Flats Community Park. The free community event features food, rides, music, fireworks, the Twin Tiers pageant, a craft fair, and many other activities. Money raised at the festival helps beautify the town of Big Flats and maintain parks in the community. More than 100 volunteers are needed for a community cleanup scheduled for tomorrow in Elmira. The Chemung County Habitat for Humanity and the City of Elmira have teamed up to organize the project. Volunteers will be sprucing up a neighborhood in Elmira, and everyone who joins in will get a free t-shirt. You can get more info at chemungcountyhabitat.org. October will be here before we know it, and now is the time to get your tickets for Elmira Ghost Walk 2023. The event will be held at Woodlawn Cemetery October 13th, 14th, and 15th. The Chemung County Historical Society and the Friends of Woodlawn Cemetery team up to put on the event that promises you will meet historic characters from Elmira's past. The Historical Society says it's planned a spectacular tour this year, celebrating the Society's 100th anniversary. You can get more info and tickets at eventbrite.com. Elmira College is calling this year's Clubs and Organizations Fair on campus a big success. Yesterday's fair at the Campus Center portico was an opportunity for anyone interested to find out more about the college's clubs and organizations. The fair's organizers say it was perfect weather for planting and making connections. Meet Yoda. This 4-year-old Belgian Malinois helped authorities catch Danilo Cavalcante, the escaped murderer in Pennsylvania. According to officials, Yoda bit Cavalcante as he was trying to escape Wednesday, giving authorities enough time to close in on the convicted murderer. Yoda is part of a canine unit with the U.S. Border and Customs Patrol. New Airbnb rules in New York City are leaving some hosts out in the cold. Short-term rental hosts are complaining that stricter regulations set forth by the city are making it harder for them to meet expenses if they can't list their properties. The new rules are meant to end a free-for-all, which include landlords and residents renting out their apartments by the week or the night to those in the city for short periods of time. The new rules also state that platforms such as Airbnb, VRBO, and others are not allowed to process rentals for unregistered hosts. Officials and housing advocates who fought for the new restrictions say with the city's limited housing supply, the rules are needed to stop apartments from becoming de facto hotels. The new COVID-19 booster shot is now available to the public, but there's a new controversy over who exactly should be getting it. Tanya J. Powers has more.
Critical care nurse Sandra Lindsay was the first person in the U.S. to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And now, 3 years later, she's become the first American to get the new booster just approved by the FDA and CDC. The agencies recommend the shots for people 12 years and up, with emergency use authorized for kids as young as 6 months old. And because COVID is expected to keep mutating, doctors say it's possible we'll continue to get updated shots every fall.
The vaccine is not at all perfect in protecting you against infections or against severe illness, but it's incredibly safe and it is some protection.
But not everyone is on board with the boosters. On Wednesday, Florida became the first state to recommend those under 65 not get the shot, claiming the approval process was rushed and the clinical data doesn't support the new guidelines.
There's essentially no evidence for it. There's been no clinical trial done in human beings showing that it benefits people. There's been no clinical trials showing that it is a safe product for people.
Doctors and public health officials are urging Floridians to reject that advice, saying the shots are safe, effective, and offer strong protection for every age group.
I don't know what the basis of his saying that it shouldn't be given to people under 65 and why it should be given to people over 65. If it's bad for one group, it's bad for another group.
The U.S. is currently seeing a spike in COVID cases, with hospitalizations up almost 9% last week and deaths increasing by more than 10%. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Getting your house clean could scrub away your good health thanks to harmful chemicals, according to a new study. Researchers from the Environmental Working Group examined 30 household cleaning products that include conventional and green products, both with and without fragrances. Researchers say they found 530 volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs, in all products. 193 of them were considered hazardous. Researchers say volatile chemicals can linger in the air for months and could cause asthma and increased cancer risk. Researchers add green cleaning products without fragrance released fewer VOCs than all the products. No signs of rising layoffs in the economy. The number of new claims for unemployment benefits last week came in at 22,000, still in the range of a healthy job market. The 4-week moving average of claims falling to the lowest level since February. There are some signs the pace of hiring is softening, but there are very few workers being laid off. Fed officials want to see some softening in the economy and the labor market in order to get inflation under control. Your complete forecast is next, plus this.
Help from around the world pouring into the Mediterranean following 2 back-to-back natural disasters. I'm Lauren Green. I'll have the story coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Good evening. Over the last week at least, lots of eyes have been on Hurricane Lee, as at times it has been a Category 5. Since then, it has been weakening, still considered though a hurricane, as it will continue to shift its way to the north-northwest. So it is going to just skim bomb by the east coastal locations. There is a cold front here sitting that is steering that system to not push its way into our east coastal locations. Now, it is though very expansive. You can even see cloud cover today, even skimming on portions of Massachusetts, even up through portions of Maine as well. And that's where we'll watch that system go through, is going to be that north-northwesterly trend just skimming by portions of Maine. So there's not going to be any direct impact here locally. But what we are watching is that we have been dealing with that cold front that is holding that system off towards the east, and we have been gradually bringing in that clearing, and with clear and calm conditions overnight, note that we are developing some patchy fog, as we will be watching that low temperatures will even be approaching those lower 40s. So a little bit of a chill to start off our Friday, but conditions will be beautiful. We'll have that abundant blue sky with those comfortable conditions. And then from Friday into the end of day Saturday, we will be watching that Lee is going to be passing on by. Far off to the east, though, we will see that there are going to be some at times, especially Saturday afternoon, some stronger winds out of the north as that system pushes itself away and maybe brings some higher level cloud cover. But again, no direct impact, especially when it comes down to dangerous conditions or any precipitation. But we will be talking on some precipitation arriving on Monday with a cold front that will follow Lee. Now, as we take a look at what we have here for our Friday, starting off into those lower 40s, we'll head for those lower 70s. So note that with a high of 70 degrees, much of the day is going to remain within those 50s and those 60s. We'll see that winds out of the west-northwest will be on the lighter side. Again, slight uptick on Saturday may be seen at times, but nothing that's going to be gusty or blustery. It will continue, though, to hold us under a high-pressure system, which is going to allow for a lot of these abundant blue skies to stick around. So upper 60s to lower 70s for our Friday. Into Saturday, we may see just a touch of some of that higher level cloud cover. Nothing too overcast, so we'll still see that with sunshine at an angle. We will be able to get to those lower 70s, looking just slightly below normal, which does sit about 75 degrees. But with these better punches of some cooler air, note that that is starting to signal for those fall leaves to start to change. Now, looking at the fall foliage report that was reported earlier this week, there's only a few small spots across the Northeast that have started to see some type of change, but note that we see peak come within just the next month. So we are going to see that quickly, especially with cooler influence, these colors start to change. Start planning out some of those weekends, especially when you can get gorgeous weather like this weekend. You have lots of sunshine, mid 70s there through Sunday. We'll watch that cold front bring some showers, not too much cooling, as we'll see that we'll have a turnaround of those temperatures with quiet conditions to prevail for the rest of the work week.